This is Rabbi Aaron Box from Temple Beth Shalom here in Ocala, Florida, back with my podcast. I was in Israel last week with traveling with the Central Conference of American Rabbis and J Squared Travel Company, and I've been asked since I returned, to describe my trip. Was it fun? Was it wonderful? Was it this? Was it that? And truth be told, it's way too early because it's only been a week, not even, for me to describe the trip using just a few words. What I have come to determine is that if I have to give a one word description of the trip, then the word is necessary. It was a necessary trip. While we were there, we traveled as far south as Sha'ar HaNegev, the area of what they call the gates to the Negev, which we didn't go very far south into the Negev, but we went to the Yotef, the Gaza envelope. We went to a Bedouin city called Rahat, and then from there we pretty much stayed around Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, in the areas around there for the rest of the trip. And we met with organizations from Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and surrounding areas. We met with pro. I don't want to say pro anything because really everybody in that part of the world, at least the organizations that we met, they all really have hope for the future. They have hope for living in a shared society in which all segments of the society really are treated the same, fairly. And right now, you're going to hear that that's not true. In various segments in communities in Israel, you're going to hear that. The Palestinian Arabs or Israeli Arabs that we met, all of which hope for a future for the future and do actually believe in hope for the future, but right now they're not feeling that the treatment that they receive is of equality. And then also within the Jewish community, there's plenty of that as well. I remember one of my Reform rabbinic colleagues in Israel who said, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't get it 100% correct, but she said the same government that abandoned the people on October 7th, 2023, are now committing ethnic cleansing against Israeli Arabs. Think about that for a second. An Israeli reform rabbi whose job for the last 2.5 years has been completely overwhelmed by providing pastoral care to everybody and anybody in Israel, who has had to literally flip their entire world around to affect change within the communities that they serve, but not even just the communities they serve. Also, there's not a single person in Israel, whether they're Jewish, Christian, or Muslim, or Druze, or whatever. There's not a single person living in the state of Israel or in the surrounding territories that is not or has not been affected and is not still affected by what happened on October 7th and in the preceding years since. I don't want to get into a discussion or a conversation right now looking at who's doing what to whom because it's multifaceted. The Israeli perspective, the Arab perspective, the Palestinian Arab, the Israeli Arab, and so on and so forth. All these different perspectives come with a very nuanced experience and perspective of what life is like now. Is life different today than it was on October 6th, 2023? Yes, in many different ways, but in a lot of ways, it's not that different. The reality that the people in the state of Israel live in right now has absolutely been greatly affected by what happened October 7th and in the preceding war since. But that does not change the fact that they still believe in hope. That is one word that kept coming up, hope. How do you define hope? What does hope mean? Is not something that you do. Hope is what you want, what you pray for, a future that you look for. But it's more than just hope. You must get out and do. And I think that's really the key. You can have hope, but if you don't have action, then what is the hope for? I can say I hope for peace in the Middle East, but if I'm not willing to work towards it, if I'm not willing to adjust the way that I act towards people, adjust the way that I think towards people. I mean, there's a lot of this idea of caring for your own community and looking out for the security of your own community. But what about the other? If we could stop only concerning ourselves with our own communities and look outward and offer help and support to the other quote unquote communities, how much better it would be, and we would not be hoping as much as we would be doing. Hope is wonderful, but without action, hope is meaningless. Over the next few weeks, months, and probably years, I will be reflecting upon the experiences that I had with my colleagues and friends in Israel. And I really hope, see, I'm using that word. I really hope that through the conversations and the reflections and the actions that we do together moving forward, that we can begin to heal. Because even though we don't live in Israel necessarily, we are a part of Israel. One of the people that we spoke to said that there are three fronts. There's the front line, which is usually the army, except on October 7th, it was not. It was the people, because the army, for whatever reason, was delayed, did not get there in time. Then the third front, so the first line is the army, the second line is the Israeli society, and the third line is world Jewry, diasporic Jewry, people who live outside of Israel. We're all in this together. I can't tell you the number of times that we were thanked for coming to Israel, for taking the time to be there, to listen, to not necessarily offer guidance and support, but to listen and be empathetic. No, it's one thing to offer sympathy, it's another to be empathetic, to offer empathy. And it's our ability, it will be in our ability moving forward to be empathetic to what's going on and to listen to Israelis and Israeli Jews and Israeli Arabs and Israeli Christians and Israeli Muslims and so on and so forth, to hear the complete story, the complete picture, and then move forward, not just with hope, but with action. Shabbat Shalom.